This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 22, French Cooking, Part 1.
Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Rest of Everest video podcast. I'm John Miller. Real quick before we start, just want to thank everyone who's been reviewing the podcast in iTunes. It's really helped out, and it's really pushed us up the list. Our viewership has just about doubled over the past few weeks, so keep reviewing it, keep giving it positive reviews, and it really helps out. So anyway, joining us this week is Ben Clark. How you doing, Ben?
Good, John. What's shaking?
Not too much. So the last episode, we hung out a little bit in Advanced Base Camp, and you got to see a little bit more about what it's like to actually kind of stand at Advanced Base Camp and look around. So this week, we're going to go back down to base camp, and we're going to hang out with me, meet 3 more people involved with the expedition. They were with us the whole time after this point, so you get to know them. So let's get back to base camp. Here we go.
On va trouver un plastique pour mettre.
Je vais demander à pleine barre.
Okay, so these guys, that right there is Bertrand, and the person in the gray shirt there is Alain. They were 2 French climbers, and that's Pempa right there helping them out. Bertrand arrived and was not feeling very good, so they had rented a Gamow bag, which is a hyperbaric chamber. They rented it from Nomad Expeditions, and so they decided to give it a shot. And I'll explain a little bit how it works in just a minute. But Ben, you want to explain who these guys are and why they were there?
Well, these guys are there helping share logistics like our base camp, as well as they also signed on to the permit. This helps alleviate some of the costs of a big expedition like this. It's having several different teams on one particular permit, in case you can't fill an entire permit with just one team. And with us, we only had 3 people, and so this is another way to kind of bridge that out. And they were there hoping to climb the mountain without using oxygen, which was ambitious and pretty cool. They were both, really, I thought they were solid climbers. They're Euros, Europeans, so usually they came with experience. They'd already climbed some other 8,000-meter peaks and knew what they were doing in the mountains. And Everest was a pretty good test for those 2 guys, I think.
And this was actually not Bertrand's first time to base camp. He had actually guided a bicycling trip from Lhasa to Kathmandu. It's been a few years now, obviously, but I think it was about 10 years before this, so probably in the early 90s.
Yep.
So this was not new terrain to him. Alain had, I believe he summited Choyo-U before this, correct?
No, I think he'd been on Gasherbrum too. He'd been over in the Karakoram.
Okay.
Yeah. He climbed some different 8,000-meter peaks over there with a very little rucksack.
with his materials.
With his materials. It didn't quite, a little rucksack didn't go so high towards the end. Got to carry a little bigger one sometimes, but yeah, he knew his stuff.
Do you know, Ben, offhand, how much the climbing permit is for the Chinese
20
base
grand
camp?
for 5 people.
Can you say that again?
20,000 for 5 people. I believe the breakdown there is, 4,000 per person.
Okay.
Yeah, Bertrand doesn't look too psyched. He's looking tired.
No, yeah, he did not feel very good, and so what he was suffering from some mild altitude sickness, and so the whole concept of this bag here is that it is airtight, and once you have the person inside who's suffering from the altitude sickness, you can zip the bag closed, and you'll see that there's an air pump there, and that's connected to the bag, and there's a gauge on the bag that shows the air pressure, and you can pump the bag up, sort of like pumping up a tire, and it puts the air under pressure, and the higher the pressure, that simulates a lower altitude.
That is correct. And these are a pretty common fixture on big Himalayan expeditions. It's not a bad idea to have one because, who knows, you might come down with pneumonia or something out of the blue. and need, need immediate medical attention. And the first rule of first aid at high altitude is always descend to a lower altitude. And if you can't right then one way to alleviate sort of the pain and discomfort of the time you're going to have to wait is to get into the Gamow bag and to pump it up full of air, and that effectively brings you down, at least to a lower altitude, maybe not 10 or 12,000 feet lower, but a few thousand feet lower.
I think it simulates about 1,000 meters or so. So
about 3,000 feet.
Yeah, 4,000 feet. And again, I just want to say that the altitude sickness typically does not reflect upon the person.
No.
It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of really anything except just luck of the draw.
Yeah, sometimes it just happens. There's no really predictable way to go about figuring out what triggers it, other than high altitude and some other entity, either a disease or chemical imbalance, or just different things. Could just be you sneezed really hard the day before, pulled your back, and now you get a stomach ache because your back hurts, and then the next thing you get a headache and everything else. Just downward spiral.
Now you'll see there's this other gentleman that we just saw wearing some overalls and a hat. You'll see him in just a second. I think actually here in this shot, Bertrand's ears are popping from the pressure change. And but anyway, the gentleman pumping right now is a Belgian climber. His name is Andre, and Andre was, I believe he was 68 years old back here in 2003, and he was trying Everest for his second time in just a couple of years, and his goal was to be the oldest person to summit at this time.
Yep. This is goal.
There he is, right there, wearing the green hat. And he was a really friendly fellow. He didn't speak much English at all. Bertrand spoke fluent English, and Alain spoke pretty good English, but communicating with Andre was pretty much using the international language of smiling.
Yep, smiling and hand gestures.
Yep.
Hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye.
Hey, there's me.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, John Miller appears now on camera for your viewing entertainment with his gray shirt. I love the fashion of the mountains, man. It's like you just go out there and you try and wear stuff that's light, and it ends up you go in with like a light pair of pants or like a light outfit like that, and you come out just tan, like brown, tan, just kind of, with like a kind of a sheen of like grease or something somewhere, just the right amount of odor. Pretty classic.
Right, just the right amount of odor.
Yeah, all put on the best that we got there. Andre's got the old ski pants, the big bibs from the 80s. Just, whatever's clever up there.
I do want to point out that the altitude sickness does not reflect poorly on anyone, but setting the Gamow bag up in the direct sun does reflect poorly on all of us. All of us, what you're watching here is you're watching three people who don't have a clue what we're doing, trying to read the directions in some foreign language, and meanwhile, Bertrand, who actually is quite afflicted here, is slowly cooking inside of that oven of a Gamow bag.
Yeah, dude, that is disgustingly hot. I can't believe he's in there. It's like a convection oven. He's just cooking away. Hey, what, man? What? Huh? Let's move this thing around some. What are you trying to say? Surprised he wasn't just hitting the sides of that thing. It's like, man, this is hot. It's like being stuck in Tennessee.
Now, it's hard to tell if we had a bag like this, if it would have provided any aid to Major. Major was much farther along than Bertrand was.
He was done. That was, I think, the best move. He made the wisest decision possible was to head on down. he knew better. But Bertrand had a large amount of experience at altitude, so he kind of knew what the result of this would all be.
Yes.
It would be okay.
Yes.
Comment ça va?
Right.
Ouais.
Right here, Bertrand's like, hey,
D'accord.
where'd everyone go?
Yeah. I'm on fire.
Well, the other thing
Man.
is that the air becomes quickly very stale. So
Yeah.
you have to constantly maintain
Faut que je te baisse.
the bag, and you have to release air and pump it back up to
En même
replenish
temps.
the oxygen and the fresh air. So
Just look at the window. It's like fogged up. You like see like a handprint on it in a second. Uh-oh.
yeah, Ben, I don't think, have you ever seen this footage?
I think I was sleeping through it that summer right when we got back, when you're trying to be like, we're going through and cataloging all the footage. I think I remember seeing it briefly and then falling asleep. Tough to watch after only having been back for 2 weeks.
Non, mais effectivement, je te renouvelle l'air plus souvent.
À quelle altitude je suis là?
Je vais peut-être te baisser encore un peu là. Je vais monter à 120 tout doucement.
Tu es à quelle altitude?
Là, je suis à 110 millibars de moins. Ben, j'ai pas la correspondance exacte. Hein. Je vais te tourner autour de 120. Je te mets à 120 là. Je suis à 140 là. Je baisse à 130.
For those of you who only speak English in the audience, what you're getting here is a really good taste of what base camp sounds like,
À toi.
because it is not, English is not the primary language necessarily.
Plus
And,
10, moins 10, 150, 140, 150, 140.
You spend a lot of time with people who do not speak English, or just
140,
in general don't speak English, and so
Just go up and down.
Voilà.
you end up being the only one
Why?
who does speak
Why?
English in your group, and
to refresh the air.
Oh, okay.
he's talking about refreshing the
we
air.
pump to reach 150 millibar, and after I decrease the pressure to low to 140 to refresh the atmosphere in the Gamow bag.
And so you end up having conversations with extremely broken English, or just with your hand and face gestures.
We become experts.
Yes.
That's all you need sometimes. Big smile and wipe the dirt out of your eyes. Everyone gets it.
That was a nice clear day to cook Bertrand. Not a cloud in the sky to provide him any cover.
Cooking. I'd like to see a temperature gauge.
Yeah.
Like 98, 99. The window's just fogged.
Oh,
Voilà.
there you go.
Il restait 100 mètres hein, d'altitude.
He's alive.
Ouf, tu dois avoir chaud là-dedans.
Does he feel any better? Probably not.
Attends que je te
He
dise.
probably feels clammy. That's how I feel. All that sweat on him.
Yeah, he talks about
Oh
it.
man,
You okay?
that is, oh god, brutal.
I'm cold. Mon dos, tu dois être chaud.
Here, listen to this.
Il faut remettre sur le... Ici. Je crois que ça s'envole.
C'est ces gens-là.
Je sais pas, c'est des Finnois, des Finlandais. Bon, je sais pas, je vais voir.
He points out the
C'est le tracker de Nomad Express.
the sweat to me.
Donc ils font juste un petit tour là.
His whole back is just covered, his elbows.
You are hot inside.
Wow.
And suddenly
As soon as the pressure is gone, you are
you
cold.
get out, you are wet. It freeze.
Heureusement qu'il fait chaud. Hein. Ce soir, il faudra se méfier. Hein, parce qu'on te le fera avant le coucher du soleil.
Ouais, parce que c'est too cold in
Ah ouais.
night.
Hein. Donc ça va être un problème. Hein. On le fera avant le coucher du soleil. Ou alors on le fait à l'intérieur.
Bertrand's wearing
On
a
le fait à l'intérieur
Hey.
Yeah,
Chamalama.
but inside.
juste avant que tu te couches.
hat.
Tu vois,
Oh, here's where he points out the water. in the bag. So this is all
On va faire même 3 séances. Hein,
all from him over the past. I think he was in the bag for about 45 minutes.
en forme.
Man. Brutal. Just sweating away.
Yeah. But he had a Chummalongma hat on. I wonder if he got it in Tingri.
I don't know. I think it was older.
Oh, maybe it was. Sure. He'd been there before. So this was the sunset on the evening after we had the fun with the Gamow bag, and it's just one of those things that just shows you how just beautiful this place is. Yes, it's very monochromatic, but you've always got the blue sky for the most part, except for storms, and then you get these beautiful sunsets where the peak. And this is time lapsed. I think that I sped this up, but the peak stays lit for like an hour after all the surrounding mountains are in shadow, because it's the highest point on the planet, and it's nothing to cast a shadow on it except for the Earth itself.
Yep.
So that's one of those things. I think I might have pointed out before, but that's one of those really cool things that you don't really realize till you're there. You don't really realize, oh yeah, that's why that's lit the whole time, because it's the highest point on the planet and there's nothing to get in its way. So, well, thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you, John.
And next episode, I think we're heading back up to Advanced Space Camp and some more adventures up there. So stay tuned, everyone. And again, don't be shy about writing a positive review. It only takes a few seconds, and it's really easy. I say in iTunes, but you can write it anywhere. I just say iTunes because more than 90% of all of you are accessing this podcast through the iTunes Music Store. So that's the easiest way to get the most number of eyeballs out there. So thanks a lot, everyone, and we'll see you next week. The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, then take a look at my website. Aside from having lots of additional blog entries from the expedition updated every week, there's this little donation button on every page. Now, many of you have pressed that button, and your generous contributions are helping to cover my hosting fees. If you haven't donated but would like to, then just contribute any amount. In return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent out while we were actually at Everest. It's pretty interesting stuff. Contribute $25 or more, and I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywu.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.